All right, everyone, welcome to another Smogcast. I'm your host, Munnith, and I am here today to interview manager of the Stark Sharks, Starmaster. Why don't you introduce yourself today?
Hey, I'm Star. I've been playing Pokemon for quite a while now, I guess. Been over a decade, and like on PS and Smogon and stuff. And I think, I've been involved in tours for a while. Managed to only one SPL before, a few SCLs, but mostly been on other teams like the Wolfpack for 3 seasons, and like Tyrants, Scooters, Cryos. Never on the Sharks before. First time here. But yeah, excited. Should be a fun SPL.
With this being your first season on the Sharks and teaming up with some more experienced managers, is there a particular brand or image or like team identity that you're looking to establish this season?
Well, I'd say the Sharks, especially, they used to be kind of like the best franchise for SPL because they were like the first 3 wins. And they were the only team with 3 wins for quite a while. And then eventually the Wolfpack got their rumors, got there, etc. And they haven't won in quite a while. I think the last one was SPL 7 question mark. But yes, like almost a decade ago now. But I think we'd like to get the Sharks back to the winning ways. Like in the past few seasons, like managed with by TDK and Obi, they got to the finals, lost the tiebreaker a couple times. So we'd like to bring them over the line, which is maybe sort of ironic coming from me, given I'm maybe the the worst at getting over the line in individuals, given I've made like a billion playoffs and I haven't quite gotten one. But I don't know. Like I've gotten there in SPL, so maybe we'll try to do it again in SPL here. And I think we have a good group. Like we've gotten some like Sharks mainstays from the past, like Conflict, for example, who is like the prototypical Sharks player. I think he's played more games for the Shark than anybody else has played for any other franchise. I think like maybe double what anybody else has played for any other franchise, which is crazy. So yeah, I think like we have some bit of the Sharks legacy, and I think we have a talented group that hopefully can bring them over the line.
Yeah, what player on your team do you feel like was the biggest steal in the auction this year?
I had to go to TD&T, I think. So I managed him last year actually on the Wolfpack, and he went 8-1 for me for 11.5K. And one of the biggest regrets when I wasn't managing the Wolfpack is, oh well, I won't have his retain, and now he's going to be like 25K or something. And ended up getting him for 15K, which was crazy to me, and basically a retained price. So I was very, very, very happy with that. And I guess like honorable mention to Lily, we got her for like 7.5K, and honestly, like I wasn't really expecting to get her. Like I was just bidding at that price because I thought it was a really good price if it worked out. I was expecting her to go like, I don't know, maybe low teens or something. I don't think we would have had the budget for that, but yeah, that also worked out, and I was very happy with that too.
Speaking of the auction, what do you feel like were the biggest surprises during the auction this year?
Um, I guess there were a few. Like in terms of prices, one that stood out to me was Michael. He was only 16K or something, and like ironically, it was like I think me and Tony who were driving up the price. And like we've teamed with Michael before, had some ups and downs, but like I mean, obviously he's a great player, and I was surprised that he wasn't going like above 20K, given I don't know like his obvious talent and like his previous success and things. That
Yeah.
was a good price to me. Oh yeah, I guess one other thing that really surprised me was the cryos in general. Like, I mean, their management was obviously like like Team India. I expected them to kind of like get, I guess, newer people and like maybe some people from Team India because they've done great in like World Cup recently, like getting out of relegation and then becoming like main event mainstays and putting up some good records. And I thought they'd been trying to like replicate those vibes, but it seemed like they didn't do that at all. And like they ended up getting, which I didn't expect at all, like a lot of really old players who haven't like played SPL since like before any of these guys were like even playing tournaments, right? Like
Mhm.
Ladybug and Gorgie and PDC and these kinds of people, which was very interesting to me. I didn't see that coming at all. And that's not to say like they have a bad team or anything. It's just not at all what I expected them to draft, which was very interesting. And also just the way like they managed the auction, like hard 8K like 45 times, which was very funny.
I
But
think this is the third time that's come up.
I mean, it was very notable for sure.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised they didn't buy PJ. I had him as a shoe-in for that team.
I mean, I guess like it also makes sense for the classiest, but yeah, I did kind of expect that they would get him.
What pool did you feel like was the most challenging to plan for this year?
I'd have to give it to Black White probably. Like in the end, the Black White pool, like the Science weren't like that crazy, but at least at the beginning, like when we're talking about people who actually wanted to play Black White, it was like just Solwind and then like the rest, right? Because like Finch, obviously he's there, but he mostly wanted to play like SV, right? That's like what his preference is, but I mean he's gonna end up playing Black White anyway. But and like other people, like for example, I think like Jisoo had signed up and then deleted, and Dice didn't sign up until the last minute. Gary didn't sign up until the last minute. Sergio Aguero didn't sign up until the last minute. So like for I guess like 90% of the planning process, the black white pool was extremely slim, and in the end, like it rounded out okay. But yeah, that was definitely a weird one to plan for.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel like black white's always kind of weird. It's a trend like year over year at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, I think like at least in the past, like people would sign up more regularly, but yeah, I think it's sort of trended this way the past couple of years, and I guess yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, a lot of like newer faces, but you know, like ADV is also sort of similar. Like this year, I think half the ADV buys went for 3K, which is like insane compared to if you look back, like I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, right? When everybody was playing ADV, like ABR, BKC, me, Linear, Fakes, Undisputed, like a million other people, right? Like Roro, and like everybody was like 20K, and ADV would be like an average price of 20K, which was insane. And this year it's like mostly 3Ks. But I think it's also interesting, right? Like I think when pools are like newer faces like this, and you know, like maybe these same people like 2, 3 years from now will all be like in the teens or whatever, right? And they establish themselves, and yeah, I think it's interesting to see like when these pools sort of like reset and have like a mix of maybe a couple mainstays, but mostly newer faces, and yeah, it's cool to see, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say about ADV is I feel like that was the tier where there was two of the most confusing prices in the auction, with both Bad Dummy and Frudazi going for 3K when they were projected to be quite a bit more.
Yeah, it seemed like a Bad Dummy. Like, I mean, obviously he had had some decent seasons, 1 or 2 decent seasons in the past, and yeah, I expected him to be more like, I don't know, maybe close to 10 or something. For Dazi, I think like in terms of SPL, he went like 2-1 in some previous year. So not much on like the SPL level, but like obviously he's like been a mainstay in the ADV community. So I definitely expected him to be more also, but I don't know. I guess like the managers in general just didn't want to spend on uncertainty, and well, I mean that doesn't really apply to Bad Dummy, but in, like I guess for the other ADV prices, like I guess it was just generally low because like people have so few results compared to like what ADV pools have looked like in the recent years, other than Roro who went for 30K obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, final question. This is my personal favorite. What's the biggest storyline that you'll be following this season?
Okay. I think I have two. So one will be BKC and DPP. So I mean, like BKC, I mean, he doesn't really need much of an introduction, but like for me personally, like I've teamed with the guy so many times, like 4 SPLs in a row. 3 Wolfpack, 1 Sharks, like World Cup a bunch of times, even like Snake once, and like I've had a lot of experience with him. Like he's obviously one of the greatest players around, and like whenever he played on teams with me, he played ADV mostly, and like he farmed there. In DPP, like his tournament record is actually not that great, which is interesting, but like obviously, you know, he's one of the best, and I'm really excited to see how he does, especially given like all the drama that DPP's had recently with Champ and all the other nonsense, you know. And yeah, I'd like to see how his season goes. Like I'm rooting for him. I think it'll be fun to see. So yeah, that's one. The other has to be the bigs. So I mean, like similarly to BKC, like Tony and Adam are 2 of my very close friends. I've also teamed with them a bunch of times on the Wolfpack and whatnot. And like with Tony also, I've managed with him several times in SCL and things. So them going from the Wolfpack to the Bigs and trying to turn around that last place, I mean, I think the worst franchise in SPL history, trying to bring them back to winning ways is going to be a fun storyline to follow, and I'm excited to see how that goes.
Winning ways. I'm not sure about that.
Okay, true.
You had to be in winning ways first to get back to them, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too. See you.